In this video, let me show you how to cut an image into pieces using background position property offered by CSS. So as you could see here, this image is cut into 4 vertical pieces, then 4 diagonal pieces and also 16 square pieces. So to do this, we are using the background position property offered by CSS, and this becomes useful when you are developing a jigsaw puzzle-like project. So you might have to cut an image, and it is very easy with CSS background position property. So let's see how to cut an image into pieces as we want using CSS background position property. Now to illustrate this, I have already saved a web page and also added reference to the latest jQuery file. Now let me add a div element with ID first. Okay, and let me style this div element a bit. So let me add the style section, style, and within this let me access the div element. So hash first, and let me initially set the width and height for this. Let the width be say 450 px, height also be 450 px, and within this div element let me first add an image. So let me specify background image to be URL. I have saved the image of a flower, flower1.jpg. So let me specify flower1.jpg, and now let me save this and show you how it looks. See, this is how it is looking. The same image is actually getting repeated. So let me also specify background repeat to be no repeat. So background repeat to be no repeat, so that the image will not be displayed repeatedly. Let me save this. See, this is how we are seeing the image within this div element. That is the div element with ID first. Next, what I am going to do is that I am going to specify background position property for this div element. Okay. So when we use the background position property, we are specifying the starting position of the image. So we can either use keywords like left, top, right, bottom, center, etc. or else we can specify the values in pixels or percentage. So when we specify the actual values, it will be like horizontal and vertical distance. So if I specify 100 px, 0 px, then what will happen? This starting will be from 100 px horizontally and 0 px vertically, means the same position. So let me show you that. So if I specify background position as 100 px space 0 px, this first value is of the horizontal distance and the second value is of the vertical distance. Now let me save this and show you. See, the image has moved towards the right hand side 100 px, and we have specified 0 px as the vertical distance. It is at the same position. So the starting has moved to the right hand side, right? Now suppose I specify 100 px and 100 px itself. What will happen? See, it has moved 100 px horizontally and also 100 px vertically. Now let me make it back to 0, 0. If we do not specify anything, it will be 0 by default. Okay, let me save this. See, this is how we are now seeing the image. So just look at the starting of this. It is something like a bud. Okay. Now suppose instead of 0, 0, if I specify minus 100, 0, what will happen? It will move 100 px towards the left hand side, as you could see here. So we are not actually seeing the starting of the image here, right? We are seeing some other part because the image has moved 100 px towards the left hand side. So we are not able to see that portion. So this is now the starting of the image. Suppose I specify minus 200 px, what will happen? It will move 200 px towards the left hand side, and we are seeing some other portion of the image, right? Now instead of minus 200, 0, suppose I specify 0 and minus 100, what will happen now? See, the image has moved 100 px towards the top. So the first portion we are not seeing, we are seeing some other portion here. So what we are going to do is that we are going to make use of this background position property, and we will change the values of the horizontal and vertical positions by minus values, that is negative values, so that we will be able to see the portion that we want. Okay, so that is how we are going to cut the image into pieces using background position property. So if I just remove this, we will be able to see the original image as you could see here. So this is the complete image. Next, let me try to vertically cut this image into pieces. That is, this is of size 400. So I'm going to cut this into 4 vertical pieces having 100 px as the width and 400 px as the height of the piece. Okay. So to see the original image, I'm not going to make any modifications to this. I'm going to add another div element after this. So div with id equal to second. Okay. And here, instead of specifying all these values, what I'm going to do is that let me put a comma and add second here, and let me remove this from here. Okay. And for the first one, let me have these values. Sorry. Okay. So now also we will see the same. Here we have the second div as well, but as there is no value or image within that, we are not able to see that. If I go to more tools and developer tools, see, we are seeing the second div as well here. Okay. Then to have some gap between these two div elements, let me add a margin of say 5px, and I want them to be displayed one next to the other. So I'm specifying float to be left, so that the first div and second div will be displayed one next to the other. Otherwise, it will be displayed one below the other, right, as they are div elements. Next, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to add div elements within this main second div element, and we will set the background position for each of those div elements. So let me add the jQuery code. So for that, let me add the script section, and let me specify $document.ready within this function, open and close parenthesis, open and close curly braces. And here what I'm going to do is that let me have a variable named where pieces, because we are going to have different pieces within this. And what I want to have 4 pieces from this. So 4 div elements are to be added, and for each div element I'm going to specify the background position. So if I want to vertically cut this image into 4 pieces, what value should be changed? It should be the horizontal value. Okay, the horizontal value should be changed by 100. That is, for the first one it will be 0 itself. For the second piece it should be minus 100. For the third piece it should be minus 200, and for the fourth piece it should be minus 300. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to run a loop for where I equal to 0, I less than 4, because I want to have 4 pieces, I plus plus, and I want to change the horizontal value, right? So initially the value of horizontal should be 0 itself, horizontal equal to 0. And what should I do? I need to decrement the value by 100. That is, for the first piece it should be 0, then for the second piece it should be minus 100, third piece minus 200, and fourth piece minus 300. So what I am going to do is that here let me specify horizontal minus equals 100. Okay, so inside this loop will run 4 times, and each time the value of horizontal will be decremented by 100. So what we can do is that we can have 4 div elements with background position as horizontal and 0px. So they will be cut into 4 pieces, 4 div elements. And if we specify the background image for those div elements as the same one, we will get 4 pieces, right? It will be more clear when I do it. let me specify pieces equals. What I'm going to do, I'm going to add div elements within this. Oh, sorry. So let me add a div element and also end this div elements tag. And within this, I'm going to specify the style property because I want to set the value for background position. So style background position. Why I have put a single quotes here? Because already we are starting the string with a double quotes, right? Background position, and its value should be 0, 0 for the first time, then minus 100, 0, then minus 200, 0, and minus 300, 0. So what we can do, we need to have the value horizontal and 0, right? So let me end this because we need to get the value from a variable, and then put horizontal, so that it will be 0, minus 100, minus 200, and minus 300. Then we need to have px, right? Because this will be just numbers. I want to specify the px as well. Then put a space, then specify 0 px, okay? Then I need to close this one. So here, let me close this, and I can remove this so that it will be considered as a single string. Hope you understand this. This is a bit confusing as we are having a number of strings and variables. What we are doing, we are running the loop 4 times because we want to cut it into 4 vertical pieces. Okay. So what we need to change in that case, we need to make the value of horizontal distance. You can name the variable as you want. You can name it as even distance or something like that. Here I am specifying horizontal because the first value is horizontal distance and then the second value will be vertical distance. So the horizontal distance should be decremented by 100. Then only we will be able to see different portions by changing the horizontal value. And here we are actually concatenating the values to the pieces variable. And what we are doing is that we are attaching div elements and setting the value for background position property as horizontal px and 0 px. The horizontal value will be changed from 0 till minus 300. Okay. Now we have the value pieces here. Suppose I just try to alert the value of pieces after the end of the loop. Let me save this and show you. See, we are seeing first div style background position minus 300 0 px. Okay, we are seeing just one value. Why? Okay, here I have to put it as plus equals. Then only it will be concatenated, right? Otherwise, what will happen? This will overwrite the value of pieces variable and only the last value will be displayed. That's what we were getting previously. Now let me save this and show you. See, we are seeing div style background position 0 0, then minus 100 0, then minus 200 0, and minus 300 0. Next, what we need to do, we need to append this pieces string to the second div element. So after this, let me specify $#second dot append. What should be appended? We need to append pieces, which means that to this div element with ID second, we are appending 4 div elements. And for each div element, we need to specify this background image and background repeat to be no repeat. Then only we will be able to see the output, right? As of now, we haven't specified the background for these div elements. So let me specify $second div. That is for all the div elements that are the child of the element with ID second. Let me just copy this. Okay. And also, let me have a margin of 2 px to have some gap between these 4 pieces. And also, let me specify a border of 2 px solid black so that we can identify the pieces easily. Let me save this and show you. Okay, we are just seeing 4 lines, black lines. Why? Because we haven't specified the height and width for these div elements. And also, we need to specify float to be left. Then only those 4 pieces will be displayed one next to the other. Otherwise, what will happen? They will be displayed one below the other. Let me show you that. That is, after this, let me specify width to be 100 px, right? They are cut into 4 pieces vertically, and height to be the same 400 px, that is the height of the image. And suppose I do not specify float to be left, what will happen? See, they are displayed one below the other, but we want them to be displayed one next to the other. Then only we will be able to see the output as we expect. See, we are seeing 4 pieces. The same image is cut into 4 pieces and they are displayed in 4 div elements. Hope you understand what we have done here. We have changed the value of horizontal distance and we have made it as 0, minus 100. So this is 0, this is minus 100, this is minus 200 and this is minus 300. And as we have set a margin 2px, we are seeing a gap, and also we have set a border of 2px solid black. So this is how we can cut an image into 4 vertical pieces.